So, the new semester is starting and you want to be as prepared as possible because we all know that we are kind of prone to falling behind during the semester. So it's a great idea to start the semester feeling confident, to have everything prepared so that we reduce that friction and so that the chances are lower to fall behind in class and then end up cramming 2 months of work before the midterm or even worse before finals week. So let's see what we can do in order to avoid that and to ensure that this semester is going to be the greatest one so far. So this first thing that I do and I find extremely beneficial is actually a thing that I do before the semester starts. And if the semester has already started for you, then maybe you could keep this in mind for the next semester. But if it hasn't started and you still have a few weeks or a few days before the actual semester starts, then this could be super helpful for you. So during the busiest weeks of the semester, my brain decides to come up with some extremely nice ideas of projects that I want to take on, but I can't because I'm so busy with lectures, study sessions, exams, YouTube, and other extracurriculars that are already embedded in my schedule. And so that's when the best project ideas come to me. And I learned it the hard way that during vacation, I completely forget about everything. And you know how vacation is? We tend to waste a lot of time because we don't have that strict schedule that we have to stick to. We have a lot of plans, but we end up just doing 2 things in one day and then the day's over. And you look at the clock and you're like, how is it 8 p.m. already? And so because I had these great ideas that I now cannot remember anymore, I created this specific folder in which I put the specific ideas that come to me during the semester that I want to look at during summer and maybe take on some projects out of them. And this helped me so much because 1, I didn't waste so much time during summer anymore, and 2, I got to put all these great ideas into practice. The second thing would be setting yourself up to be consistent. So consistency is really key in university. If you want to pass your exams, if you don't want to fall behind, and if you don't want to be anxious along the way because you feel like you're dragging all those things on your to-do list that you know you should do, but you're not doing because you're procrastinating and you end up feeling so overwhelmed because of them. And we all know that moment before the exams when we have all these things to do and we're so disappointed in ourselves because we didn't start earlier, because we weren't consistent during the semester. And regardless of how excited we were of this new beginning of the new semester started, because we're all super motivated at the beginning of the semester to do well in school, to get good grades, to have productive study sessions every week, and to maybe get involved in some projects. And we can't really put our finger on the moment this whole shift happened from being super motivated to procrastinating all day long. But beginnings are always exciting. And although I know there's so many people that are not very excited about the idea of New Year's resolutions or new semester resolutions in this case, I feel like humans still need this fresh start when you can start anew, and regardless of how unproductive you were before, you can now change that because it's a new beginning and you can do things better this time. So in my experience so far, I found that it's such a great idea to build a consistent routine as soon as the semester starts, or even better, a little bit before the semester starts. And even if I'm not a very big fan of routines, I feel like routines make us feel comfortable. So before the semester starts, look at your schedule and try to figure out where you could fit study sessions and where you can fit revision sessions and where you can fit rewards or just feel good activities, free time activities. And this way, when you look at it from a distance, when you're not already involved in that rush of the semester where you have so many things to do, you can look at it objectively and set it up so that 1, it meets your expectations and puts you on the right path to success or to passing those exams. And 2, it's also a realistic routine that you're gonna be happy with and that's not gonna lead you to a burnout in the middle of the semester. The next tip is an obvious one, but at the same time is not as obvious as you would think. Because from a reason that I cannot really understand right now because it's always been something else. I have missed every semester start except for the last one. And I can tell you from my own experience that once you miss that start, it's so easy to fall behind. And I used to start so unprepared. I didn't have my textbooks, I didn't have my notebooks, I didn't have pens, pencil, or anything that I would need. And I started acquiring those things after the semester already started. And there's a problem with that because usually the semester starts pretty relaxed because you start with the basics, regardless of what semester you're in. You start with the basics, you start slow, and you're pretty relaxed because you know you can handle those things. But before you know it, and this happened every semester, before I knew it, it got so complicated and I needed those materials. I needed those books that I didn't buy ahead of time. But I was also super busy at the same time and I couldn't afford to go buy all those things because I had other subjects that I wanted to study for, and I thought, you know, I'm gonna do this later, it's okay. And I always ended up falling behind because of missing the start. So I want to encourage you to be as prepared as possible, to maybe even look at the courses, at the lectures a little bit ahead of time so that you're prepared for what's gonna come at you, because it's gonna be fast-paced and you want to be prepared for that. And so once you set up those courses, once you know what you're gonna have to deal with, try to maybe read a little bit about that beforehand. Try to maybe get comfortable with that subject if that's something that you didn't heard about before, or even if that's something that you did in the past semesters but you cannot really remember, because this could be a tricky one. Like, I used to look at some maths problems and they looked pretty familiar, so I thought, you know, I'm gonna be okay with this because I did this in the previous semesters. But I quickly found out that if I was to put a spare sheet of paper in front of me and to solve that equation that I thought I knew or that I thought I understood, I wasn't really able to do it without looking a little bit at the solution or without looking at how to start. So it's a really good idea to revise some of the things of the past if you know you're gonna have subjects in which you're gonna build up on that knowledge that you have acquired in the previous semesters. And I know what you're gonna say, I know what you're thinking. We don't wanna do that because we have a few more days of vacation. We don't already want to start with studying, but it's gonna help you so much and it's gonna lift such a big weight off your shoulders once you're faced with some things and you're comfortable with them because you've revised them before. The last tip that I have is one that is so close to my heart and that boosts my productivity so much, is to find or create the perfect study space. So I struggled with this a lot until a few semesters ago because I felt like I couldn't really study in my room because it was this whole environment where I'm also sleeping, where I'm also eating, and I didn't want to study at the same table because I know it's not a very good idea to study at the same table you eat and at the same table you watch Netflix. And it's also not a good idea to study in bed because your brain will be tricked into thinking,
okay, it's bedtime, now I'm gonna get so bored and then I'm gonna toss all my notebooks and tablets and I'm not gonna do anything because I'm so tired and
I don't want to be unproductive, I don't want to be wasting time, so I might as well take a nap right now and then I'm gonna be fresh to study. So I knew I didn't want that, so I decided to go to the library. But also there are so many amazing libraries in this city, and if you've been watching my channel you know how nice they are, and there are so many and I cannot really decide which one to go to. And I used to waste up to 2 hours to just decide where to go, and by the time I had finally picked a location, it was so late that everything was occupied, the whole library was full, and I didn't really have where to sit to study. So I ended up going to another location, and then it was the same story once again, and guess what? I always ended up coming to my room in which I didn't want to study to begin with, at the same table I'm eating and I'm watching series at. So I learned my lesson and I decided that every month or every week, if I'm easily bored, I will pick a location in which I'm gonna study every time I wanna have productive study session. And that worked wonders for me because I knew every time I wanted to study, I knew straight where to go. And then I was also happy and satisfied with my decision because I knew I'm not gonna get bored because in 1 week or in 1 month, I'm gonna be able to switch the location. And this way I reduced all that friction that usually ended up with me being so tired from all that library hunt that when I was at my table and I wanted to start studying, I was so tired and exhausted and I just wanted to rest for a little bit and calm my anxiety. And that also took a few minutes or maybe even 1 hour in which I could have been studying productively. So do your homework ahead of time and identify that location that you're gonna study in so that when you get there, you can start studying productively right away. And also, there's another thing I want to mention. It's alright to use the same study space for 1 year or for 3 years. Some people just love to study at their desks for their whole university journey. And I mean, that's great if you can do that. But I don't know if it's just me, but I kind of get easily bored from a location and I just want to switch things up. So that's why I suggested like changing your location. But I mean, if you can work at your desk, you're so lucky, you're so blessed, and you should be thankful for that. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that these tips are gonna motivate you to start the semester strong. And also, say hi to my pumpkin. I haven't really given him a name, so if you have any ideas, please comment below. And also, please comment below if you have any other tips, because I tried to keep it short. There's also so many other things that you can do to start the semester strong, but I feel like these are the most important ones or the ones that really help me the most. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, a great semester. I wish you the best of luck, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!